The tow authorization box was still empty. Everything else had already been completed. Black luxury sedan. Excellent condition. No visible lien. Emergency seizure. Owner unverified. The form rested on a clipboard inside a Harbor Line towing truck parked 1 block from Kingsley Avenue. The owner's name had been left blank. Across the road, Renata Cole remained behind the wheel of the Mercedes. Her license lay on the dashboard. The registration beside it carried the same name. No theft report existed. Officer Gavin Mercer had not yet read the license plate to dispatch. Earlier that morning, Renata had entered Norchester shortly after 8. She wore a charcoal jacket over a pale blouse. Her black Mercedes was registered legally in her name and carried no outstanding loan. Nothing visible identified her as a senior investigator with the State Office of Public Asset Integrity. The plate had been added to a protected monitoring list before she left the state capital. Norchester had produced an unusual concentration of disputed vehicle seizures. The same patrol district appeared repeatedly. So did Harbor Line Towing and Storage. Renata's assignment was not to provoke a particular officer. She only had to drive through the district and allow the existing process to reveal itself. Gavin noticed the Mercedes outside a coffee shop. He remained behind it through 3 legal turns. Renata signaled before changing lanes. His emergency lights activated seconds later. She stopped beside a gas station and kept both hands visible. Gavin approached slowly. License and registration. Renata told him where each document was located before reaching for them. He carried the papers to his patrol car. The state database returned 3 green confirmations. Registration valid. Insurance active. Owner matched. Gavin returned to the window. This vehicle profile doesn't fit. Renata looked at him. Which field is incorrect? He glanced at the registration again. No lender listed. The vehicle is paid for. His eyes moved across the leather interior, then toward the plate. You live outside Norchester. That does not change ownership. Gavin walked to the front of the Mercedes and looked through the windshield at the vehicle identification plate. He did not photograph it. He did not compare it with the registration. He removed his personal phone instead. Renata heard only his side of the call. Black Sedan. Clean. He paused. Paid off. Driver alone. Another pause. Send the usual form. Renata touched the face of her watch. The audio recorder activated. Gavin ended the call and returned to her window. Step out. You have not identified a theft report or ownership conflict. You don't decide what requires investigation. He stepped away and keyed his radio. Communications, Unit 317. Mark the driver non-compliant. Authorize immediate towing and send backup. Inside Norchester Public Safety Communications, Lila Moreno opened the request. The new interface placed 3 sources on one screen. Gavin's body camera feed showed Renata sitting still. The vehicle record showed a valid registration. The theft field showed none. Lila had processed emergency seizure requests for years. When officers left required fields incomplete, she had often entered the classifications they supplied and assumed supervisors would correct them later. No supervisor had corrected the vehicles already sold. She pressed her headset closer. Unit 317. Tow request denied. Gavin looked down at his radio. Repeat. No verified theft record. No documented ownership conflict. The driver is becoming combative. On the body camera feed, Renata had not moved. Gavin raised his voice. Send 2 units emergency response. Lila watched the screen for another second. Emergency response denied. Maintain distance. Who is speaking? Communications Watch Supervisor, Lila Moreno. I know who you are. Authorize the tow. Lila selected the refusal field. No. The emergency seizure request turned gray. Gavin's mobile terminal lost access to the towing interface. A preservation banner appeared across Lila's screen. Monitored asset event. Title transfer, frozen. Dispatch audio preserved. Body camera preserved. Gavin stared toward his patrol car. Renata noticed the uncertainty before he concealed it. A gray police SUV arrived minutes later. Captain Warren Vale stepped onto the shoulder. Gavin spoke to him first. Possible stolen vehicle. She's interfering. Warren looked at the Mercedes. What did communications do? Locked me out. Warren did not ask whether the vehicle had been reported stolen. He approached Renata's window. "Exit the vehicle and hand me your phone." Why was Harborline contacted before the registration was verified? His gaze shifted toward Gavin. "Your vehicle will be secured while we resolve that." The radio on Warren's shoulder activated. Lila's voice reached every unit at the scene. "This stop is under state evidence preservation status. Do not remove the driver or vehicle." A white tow truck turned into the gas station. Warren looked toward it. Lila instructed the driver to scan the seizure paperwork into the preserved file. The document appeared beside the live body camera feed. Its creation time preceded Gavin's official request. One screen showed Renata behind the wheel. The other showed the classification already entered. Owner present. Vehicle abandoned. Deputy Director Naomi Price arrived without sirens. 2 state investigators followed her onto the gas station lot. Their identification cards remained visible. Their body cameras were already recording. Naomi stopped beside Lila Moreno's preserved incident file on a tablet. She did not ask Captain Warren Vale for permission. "Vehicle removal is suspended." Warren looked toward Renata Cole. "Who is she?" Naomi entered Renata's name into the evidence log. Senior Investigator Cole is assigned to the State Office of Public Asset Integrity. Gavin Mercer stared through the Mercedes window. Renata's position had changed. The facts had not. Naomi collected the tow form first. Its creation time preceded Gavin's radio request. The owner field was blank. The vehicle had already been labeled abandoned. Tow truck location data showed Harborline had dispatched the truck while Gavin was still following the Mercedes from the coffee shop. Warren read the timestamps. "You called them privately." Gavin looked at him. "This is how the unit handles disputed ownership. I never authorized false paperwork." Naomi separated them before either could shape the other's statement. Inside Norchester Public Safety Communications, Lila opened Gavin's earlier emergency seizure requests. The first case contained no confirmed theft report. The second contained valid registration photographed on body camera. The third listed the driver as aggressive, while the recording showed an elderly man standing with both hands against his own car. Lila continued. 6 cases used language nearly identical to Gavin's request involving Renata. In 4, Harborline had been contacted before communications authorized a tow. Lila called Naomi. "I have older records. Preserve everything. I approved some of them." Naomi paused. "Then preserve that too." 6 weeks earlier, Arthur Bellamy had mailed the state office a thick envelope. The retired postal worker had numbered every page. His dark blue sedan had belonged to his late wife. Gavin stopped him for a partially obscured plate. Arthur produced the title, registration, and insurance card. The vehicle was still removed. Harborline told him the sedan had been transferred to police custody. Police records said Harborline still held it. For 11 days, Arthur moved between both offices. By the time an attorney obtained review, the vehicle had been classified as abandoned and sold. Arthur's complaint file stated that he had voluntarily surrendered it. The notice log claimed 3 letters had been mailed. Each carried an incomplete version of the address where Arthur had lived for 37 years. Naomi's team compared his case with the other seizures. The vehicles were usually valuable. Most had no lender lien. The owners were disproportionately Black, Latino, elderly, or recent immigrants. They were not selected because ownership was unclear. They were selected because no bank or corporate fleet office would challenge the seizure immediately. A warrant for Gavin's phone exposed the shorthand. Silver, low mileage, no bank, older owner. Hold through Friday. The final message concerned Renata's Mercedes. Gavin had sent a photograph before activating his emergency lights. Harborline owner Dale Kessler replied with one word. 12. Financial records later identified 12 as Gavin's percentage of resale proceeds. Warren denied knowledge of the payments. His department's salary supported that claim. His financial disclosures did not. A consulting company connected to Harborline had sent regular payments to an organization managed by Warren's brother. The dates matched private vehicle auctions. Warren had also approved the policy allowing disputed cars to become abandoned whenever ownership could not be verified immediately. The policy contained no deadline requiring the department to complete that verification. Delay was not a defect. It was the mechanism. The following morning, Naomi executed warrants at Harborline and Creekside Storage Annex. The public lot contained properly documented impounds. The annex did not. 14 newer vehicles stood behind a warehouse with their plates removed. Prescription glasses remained inside one sedan. A child safety seat rested in the back of an SUV. A folded mobility aid lay in the trunk of a coupe whose owner had filed 3 unanswered complaints. Dale's office contained the central spreadsheet. Each row listed a vehicle model, estimated market value, lien status, officer referral code, auction date, and buyer. Gavin's code appeared repeatedly. Warren's initials appeared beside nearly every approval. One column carried the same entry again and again. No lien. Dale requested an attorney after learning Warren had called Harborline the sole source of the fraud. Gavin began cooperating after Warren described him as a rogue officer. Both men offered partial truths designed to move responsibility upward or sideways. At the communications center, Lila completed her own statement. She documented Gavin's unsupported requests. Then she added the 6 occasions when she had entered the classifications without challenge. She read the final page twice. Then she signed her name beneath all of it. The jury saw the tow form before it saw Gavin Mercer. Its creation time appeared in the upper corner, 7 minutes before the official towing request. The owner field was blank. The vehicle classification was not abandoned. The prosecutor placed the body camera image beside it. Renata Cole remained behind the wheel. Her license, registration, and insurance card rested on the dashboard. The contradiction required no explanation. Gavin had selected the Mercedes before identifying any crime. His phone records showed the photograph sent to Dale Kessler outside the coffee shop. The message beneath it described the vehicle as paid off. No bank. Driver alone. Dale's reply contained the referral percentage. Gavin testified that the exchange concerned standard towing fees. The financial ledger showed 12% of the auction proceeds entering an account controlled by his relative. Captain Warren Vale denied participating in the operation. Then the jury saw the complaint chronology. Warren had reviewed every challenge involving Gavin. He had delayed each ownership hearing. He had renewed Harborline's contract. His initials appeared beside the auctions. Payments connected to Dale reached an organization managed by Warren's brother within days of the sales. Dale attempted to describe Harborline as a contractor following police instructions. Tow truck location records showed his company dispatching vehicles before police authorization. His office created abandonment forms while owners were still present. His employees moved disputed vehicles between lots whenever attorneys asked where they were being held. Lila Moreno testified on the 4th day. She explained what happened after an officer's radio statement entered the communications system. Once she selected the classification, it generated authority. Backup could be sent. A tow could be released. A vehicle could enter a process that ended with a new title. The prosecutor displayed 6 earlier requests. Lila had approved each one. She did not blame outdated software. She did not claim she had been deceived every time. I treated the officer's description as evidence. Then the Kingsley Avenue recording played. Gavin called Renata combative. The body camera feed showed her sitting still. That morning, Lila had refused to make both versions official. The jury convicted Gavin of conspiracy, falsifying public records, fraud, and unlawful deprivation of property. His certification was revoked. The court permanently barred him from public safety employment. The referral account and property purchased with seizure proceeds were placed under forfeiture. Warren was convicted of conspiracy, obstruction, money laundering, and abuse of official position. He was removed from command before he could file retirement papers or describe his departure as voluntary. Funds routed through the organization managed by his brother were frozen for restitution. Dale was convicted of fraud, criminal conversion, title laundering, and conspiracy. Harborline lost its municipal contract, auction authority, and license to handle disputed public seizures. Its illicit proceeds entered the same restitution fund. Norchester opened an independent audit of every affected vehicle. Cars still held at Creekside Storage Annex were returned. Sold vehicles required separate restitution findings. Owners received full market value, towing charges, legal expenses, and documented lost income. The city also corrected the underlying records. An original false entry could not be deleted. A permanent finding had to appear beneath it, identifying the valid ownership documents and the officials who had approved the wrongful seizure. Lila received formal discipline for the earlier classifications she had authorized. Her cooperation did not erase them. She remained under a protected agreement and helped develop a procedure requiring communications supervisors to document contradictions before approving property removal. Norchester adopted the Vehicle Ownership Continuity Protocol. An emergency seizure now required a confirmed theft report, a documented ownership conflict, or a specific safety necessity. Tow companies could not prepare forms or dispatch vehicles before authorization. Any contested seizure automatically froze auction, sale, relocation, and title transfer. Vehicle location remained visible to the owner through a public portal. Notices had to be delivered through certified mail and electronic channels. A failed delivery extended the appeal period. Police personnel could not receive referral payments or share auction proceeds. Vehicle complaints moved to an independent reviewer outside the accused officer's command. Arthur Bellamy's sedan could not be recovered. It had passed through several buyers before the investigation began. The restitution order covered its market value and the expenses created by the seizure. Another page carried the correction money could not provide. Arthur had shown valid ownership documents. He had been present when the vehicle was removed. He had never surrendered it. He had never abandoned it. At the final hearing, Arthur opened a thin folder. Inside was a photograph of his wife beside the blue sedan on the day they bought it. The original seizure record remained behind the photograph. Abandoned. Arthur placed the permanent correction order over it. Owner present. Ownership documents valid. Seizure unlawful. He closed the folder. This story is fictional.